Hello, everyone. This is Coach Mo Live, and we are talking about the real reason why you are burnt out. I know these days being burnt out, emotionally overtaxed, is almost getting to be almost like a mental health issue. If you're a woman who is in a profession, in a career, and you are feeling burned out from your career, chances are your company is treating burnout like it's your fault, as though you can't manage your time or your workload. So you blame yourself and you try to hide that you're burned out. And the situation continues to get worse. I'm Coach Mo Fall. I am the founder and the creator of the Kick Ass Career Workshop, where we help women bring their souls back to life so you can land your dream job, get promoted, have that life and career that you might think is beyond you. But I'm here to tell you this. I see every single week women bringing their souls back to life, overcoming burnout, overcoming a toxic work environment, overcoming being passed over for promotions. Every single week, we're watching and helping women move forward, move forward into a new life, into a new career. Being burnout, having that career like death sentence, let's just call it that, can really trigger the fear brain to do some things that you don't want it to do. Burnout feelings could push you into losing your job, quitting your job, winding up in the ER, losing a chance to advance or move up, which affects your earning potential for the rest of your career. Here's an example. My client, Nadia, a single mom of 3, recently divorced in a very overworked situation years ago, where she was definitely burning the candle at both ends. She did end up in the hospital in a mental health exhaustion phase. And that doctor looked at her and said, "You need a support system and you need to get back on track." So, literally from the hospital, she's doing her Google search and finds me. She joins the workshop, and there we help her reconnect with her soul. We help her get out of her fear brain and her burnout mode. And we enliven her soul so that it matches her career. She's now making over $80,000 more than she was just 2.5 years ago. She's had a second dream job, and she knows exactly who she is and what she's all about now. But she was so burnt out. She had lost focus. She was mentally and emotionally exhausted. She was feeling numb at her job. And you know what happens also? You can't possibly be the mom that you need to be, or the spouse, or the partner, or the sister, or the daughter. You lose all of the best parts of your life when you are burnt out. And it does creep up on you. But if you're suffering from these very specific issues of burnout, lack of focus, emotional and mental exhaustion, feeling numb at your job, chronic physical symptoms, and a short fuse, you could be suffering from burnout, and you need to do something about it before it forces you to make a decision or to get out of the situation in a way that is not empowering you. As a career coach, I see women all the time making missteps in their careers because they are in a burnout situation and they are not managing it or handling it. This is exactly what happens. You are at risk for making a career misstep if you are burnt out. And if this sounds like you, it's not your fault. Let's talk about the 5 phases of burnout from a website called thiscalmer.com. You know, 24% increase in Google searches on how do you know if you're burnout. And the average person experiences burnout by the age of 32. So if you're in your 40s or 50s, guess what? You have more than likely found yourself in a burnout situation more than once. The first section The first phase, actually, of being burnout is feeling a little bit of job satisfaction. You're organized, you're getting a lot of productivity, and you're sort of in this honeymoon phase at work. And then burnout starts to creep in, the onset of stress, and you might be moving into avoidance of decision making. Maybe you're neglecting some of your personal needs. A lot of our gals stop eating well, they lose an exercise regime. The thing that is the easiest to spot is when you begin to lose sleep, toss and turn, and you begin to have chronic sleep problems. And then there's the other aspect, which means that you're probably also in a lower productivity here in this onset phase. Now, when you get into more of a chronic burnout phase, you're going to be feeling depleted and exhausted all the time. It may not leave you. You're going to have a cynical attitude. You're going to procrastinate on career and personal life issues. And you're going to dive more into escapist activities. And you know what those are? Netflix binging when you really don't have time to do it, drinking, eating the wrong foods. And then there's other very maladaptive behaviors I won't even really get into. But if you're finding yourself sliding down a slope of activities that aren't in your highest interest, you want to take a look at the fact that you may be suffering from chronic stress. That level of exhaustion is something that can be dealt with, but usually not on your own, because your brain is so fried and you're in such fear response mechanism that you can't even get out of this job. More than likely, you're thinking about quitting every single day. And when you're in that zone, you're not giving your all at work. You're not giving your all at home. You're not giving your all to anything except just surviving day to day. That's why in my career workshop, the main focus, the first thing we do is to focus on your soul, because that life force, that essence of who you are at this point in burnout under chronic stress has basically been snuffed out. When you're truly in a burnout phase, you're going to absolutely have an escapist mentality. You're going to feel empty inside, and you're going to be full of self-doubt, and you're going to begin isolating yourself. Have you already stopped seeing friends? Perhaps you've cut off some of the family activities because you just don't feel up to it. Perhaps you're dragging yourself to activities and perhaps not filling your refrigerator with the right foods. Perhaps you're not even going grocery shopping. Perhaps you haven't participated in some things that used to bring you joy. And then when you have habitual burnout, this is when it almost becomes a personality trait. When you are chronically sad, you might actually even be literally clinically depressed, and you have chronic mental and physical fatigue. At this habitual burnout phase, you might be at risk for adrenal fatigue and other metabolic syndromes. So many of our gals have said, yeah, I've put on 40 pounds, or I have just lost my exercise routine. When burnout truly happens and when it seeps into being a part of your personality, you have a real problem that has to be dealt with. We'd love to talk to you and see if we can solve this problem. You can book your complimentary career clarity call by going to this link at mofall.com/live clarity. It is here where you will talk to one of my expert coaches, and we will sort through the very specifics that we sorted through with Nadia and every client like her who was just not feeling herself. I just got off the phone with one of our new grads in our workshop, and she'll be continuing to work further with us. And she had such a sense of emptiness and not wanting to go for more because she had risen to a point where she had out-earned and outpaced anyone in her family, and everyone was down on her about why should she want something more. And she was believing that more meant more work, and how could she possibly? So she was in chronic stress and anxiety around self-doubt and all the things that were really dragging her down. Burnout can come from a variety of factors. Sometimes it might be because we are actually telling ourselves internal stories that drag us down as well. When burnout happens, You're overworking and people pleasing to prove your value. You don't like your job, but you feel stuck and you think to yourself, well, no one's even going to hire me, or I can't even get a resume going because of how lousy I feel. Sometimes you might be in an actual toxic work environment and you go into autopilot survival mode. Is that you? Are you in a really serious phase of burnout that you are literally in survival mode? What happens here is that you will choose activities that feel good for you temporarily, but you know are not right for you. And again, excessive drinking, excessive Netflix binging, sometimes till late at night, so you're actually impinging on your sleep. And of course, the chronic sleep disorders that happen, weight gain, losing an exercise regime, all those things that you're moving away from the things that make you feel awesome. You know, the bottom line is this: work is meant for our greater good so that we are feeling that we're contributing to the world and our soul feels full of thriving life force energy. This is how we fix this problem with our clients. We help them really appreciate and understand that that next promotion, that next up leveling, or even getting out of a toxic work environment doesn't mean that they're going to have a heavy load that they can't control. It doesn't mean you're going to have a lack of your own personal control and contribution. You might feel that work is supposed to be not giving you any satisfaction. It's just work, and that's why we call it work. You might be feeling that you're not even a part of your team members or a community at work. You might be feeling that there's a values mismatch with what your company's all about and what you really want to be all about. And if those things are troubling you and bothering you, please consider the best next move, and that is to talk to one of my experts on a complimentary career clarity call. It doesn't have to be your life. We can dive in and talk to you in depth about what that looks like for you at mofall.com/live clarity. You know, I know in many situations, so many of our awesome clients are watching these lives, listening to the podcast, and getting recharged. Because I'll tell you one thing that happens. When you begin to choose yourself, your future, when you begin to choose your good feeling state over any other external pressure, you will begin to recover. You will begin to honor your soul and your higher vibrational self. I'm going to tell you something. Personally, I was burnout and struggling when I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I remember working so hard to prove my worth and to be a good contributor. At the time, I was actually CEO of a medical group and working really, really hard. We had just dealt with a regulatory change and how we were reimbursed for our services, and things were really tough to keep things balanced and keep things on the positive. As the CEO, I took the brunt of that. Not that I could have changed the regulatory environment, but there were very little options for us to maneuver through that. What happened is I was suffering from chronic internal, it was beyond self-doubt. I felt that I wasn't worthy. I felt that I had done the wrong things, and I had done nothing wrong. I was actually a really great CEO, a really great leader. I had built this group up and made it something that those doctors only dreamed of having. But during that situation, I was constantly questioning myself. Eventually, I lost my job there and found a brand new job several months later that really made me feel happy and excited. And it was there that I actually had my breast cancer surgery and recovery. And when I came back from that, so I had obviously had a very difficult 6 to 8, 9 month period there from diagnosis when I was in the CEO job to actually having my surgery and recovering from it in this next new job. I brought my soul back to work. It was in that phase of recovery that I realized how I was talking to myself. I realized what was going on internally that was causing the internal poisoning. I realized I absolutely needed to do something different. So when I came back to work after my double mastectomy, I brought my soul to work. I brought the essence of who I am and what I'm all about to work. And I began claiming this coach, teacher, helper, lifter upper. That's who I was as a leader from that point on. My soul's essence is lifting others up. It's teaching people things that they can't figure out on their own. It's lifting up the human being. And so that's how I came back after my breast cancer. And I didn't suffer burnout in that job after that. I literally was living from my soul's purpose in a very high level healthcare executive job. You may think that you have to work for a nonprofit or save puppies in order to live your soul's purpose. But the clients we work with, the women we help save their souls and their careers, they're in jobs, in careers just like you. IT, marketing, law, engineering, you name it, all around the board. And what happens is if you have a downward trend of chronic stress that eventually leads to burnout, you're losing your soul and you're losing your soul's purpose. It's there to get reclaimed. And you don't have to give up and quit your job. We have had plenty of clients who have quit their job because their burnout got the best of them. Now, good for Nadia that she actually reached out before she felt compelled to quit her job. And we were able to help propel her into something new before that. I can think of a handful of women right now who come to mind who are our clients who did quit their jobs under duress. Even though we're able to help them, we're able to lift them out of that shame and guilt of not being able to handle what was in front of them at the time and build them back up from the soul level and give them exact strategies and techniques to not only talk about that gap in their employment, but to feel awesome on their resume and LinkedIn. We help with all of the strategies. But unless your soul is built up first, unless your soul knows its direction and who it is and what it's all about, unless and until you bring that part of you alive, you're not going to be able to interview powerfully. You could hire a resume and LinkedIn coach and have all those pieces look good, but you're not going to feel congruent with that inside unless you fix the inside. One of our clients who comes to mind right now was fired unexpectedly. And I think what happened is that she was overworking, overdoing, and getting in too many people's ways. That sometimes happens when we're burnt out, doesn't it? We actually overdo. We actually get into people's ways. We actually feel like we can't do enough to feel good about ourselves. And that's what chronic burnout will do as well. It will put you into an overworking cycle where you just can't get out of it. Again, these are the things that we help diagnose and help you understand in our complimentary career clarity call. You can click on the link below at mofall.com/live clarity. And if you're here listening to me on YouTube or Facebook or any other place where you can make a comment, please do feel free to make a comment below. If you're one of my wonderful clients listening in, please do comment and let me know that you're here and share some love. You may have a sister who's watching this who may not know, who may not be able to totally appreciate that it's actually possible to build your soul back up and to feel awesome. So if you're one of my wonderful, wonderful clients, I'd love to hear from you. And that is how we continue to lift the world, is by sharing our story. I hope in sharing my story about my recovery about my coming through my breast cancer was really helpful. My client, Christy, when she got fired, all of a sudden, she was left with no plan. She was left with no idea of what to do next. And we went to work right away on getting things taken care of for her. She landed a wonderful job, and she continues to post in our Facebook group and share how her life is a dream now. And she and her husband are closer than ever before. And hello to all of my clients who are saying hello. Nice to see you, ladies. And here's the thing: you can have the life of your dreams. Please don't let anyone out there convince you that that doesn't happen. Please don't listen to the naysayers. Don't listen to the people who say, haven't you achieved enough? Don't listen to the people who say, well, you're more successful than anyone in our family ever has been. Don't you think that that's enough? If you work at another higher level, you're going to take away from your family. Please don't listen to that. Every single successful woman we have coached has found that as she up-leveled her soul and her career, she actually felt easier about her life. She had more time, more autonomy, and she was able to be a better mom, a better wife. All roles that we women serve get better and easier when you bring your soul to life and you get out of burnout. Chronic burnout can turn you into the worst version of you, and no one likes to be there. But you may think that that's what life is supposed to be. And I'm here to tell you it is not the way your creator designed it. I coach clients to recover from burnout or avoid it altogether and lift themselves up into their dream jobs. I learned this through my journey, and I've been helping over 1,000 women all these 7 years of doing this work lift their careers also. I'd love to hear from you, and we would love to help support and up-level your soul and your career. Again, the way to get started, just like Christy and Nadia and Debbie and Gracie, is to go ahead and book that wonderful complimentary career clarity call where you're going to spend time talking to a coach, working with one of my experts to understand exactly what's going on. And if we can help you, if the problem that you have, and if it's chronic career burnout, more than likely we can help you. But let's talk about what exactly it might take to get you there. And if you're ready to make massive changes and change your life forever so that you can live the career and the life of your dreams, then we might exactly be able to work with you and save your life and get you out of this treadmill of chronic burnout, of chronically not being the best version of you. So this week, as you contemplate what your life and career look like, please consider whether you are in a sense of burnout, feeling that you have a heavy workload you can't control, perceived lack of control of any of your work environment, no reward system coming from within or from without, no feeling of being connected to your team, values mismatch. Perhaps you feel like there's no system of fairness and you've been passed over for raises and promotions. I'm also here to tell you this. If you have been passed over for a raise or promotion many years at a time, please do not convince yourself that your salary has stayed the same. Your salary has gone backwards if it has stayed the same. Your salary needs to expand. Your compensation needs to expand as the economy expands, as you expand. And if you haven't expanded, if you haven't grown, if you haven't committed to the better version of you, more than likely your salary is showing the same story. So if you're in chronic burnout, chances are you've not been your best self and you're not being looked at as someone who's promotable. Take a look at it. Book your complimentary career clarity call. We're here to help you rise above this situation. It's mofall.com/live clarity or a click below. Yes, and thank you, Debbie Grant. I am in burnout just from life. Mo's coaching helps in every area of your life. And Debbie Grant, I know you've made massive, massive changes in up-leveling and absolutely owned the power of your soul and the truth of the fact that life can be awesome for you. So when we choose to get ourselves back on track, hire an expert, follow a proven formula, you're going to have a different result. You're going to have a better version of you emerging. We're experts at this. We've worked with thousands of other women, and we love helping women achieve by feeling awesome first and then having all the tools and the strategies that you need to up-level your career. It's your life, and you can make changes. You just have to make some powerful decisions to do that. It's been awesome talking with you today and sharing not only my personal story, but that of Nadia and Christy, Debbie, Gracie. Nice to see you ladies here today. Let's have an awesome week where we are choosing our soul's strength and our soul's power, and we are no longer choosing burnout. We are no longer choosing the lower end of the stick. We are no longer choosing what other people are putting in front of us. We are choosing our souls. And yes, Debbie Grant, amen from Gracie. Book the call and let's get your soul back. Let's get you out of burnout. Let's lift you up to your finest expression of self, the divine sense of self that was put on this earth to do something special. You're unique. Let's help you see it and expand upon it and get you the soul and the career you deserve. This is Coach Mo Fall. Again, how you get started with our work is mofall.com/live clarity. Coach Mo and Mo Fall all over the internet and every social media outlet. We'd love to see you over at our YouTube channel, Facebook page, and we would love to work with you to change your life forever. This is Coach Mo. I am the founder and creator of your Kick-Ass Career Workshop, where we change women's souls and up-level their careers. This is burnout that you don't need. Let's change it forever. Have a great week, everyone. We'll talk to you later.